It's funny whenever I bring up a champion, there's always all the messed up builds from the monthly challenges. Also, hello to all the lovely people watching on YouTube, the VODs later. If you are watching the VODs, definitely subscribe. Statistically correct ASOL build. Yeah. So what we're doing today is, when I'm doing the tier list, I mean, it did have a 100% win rate, that is true. When I'm doing the tier list, I'm going to show essentially like this on the side. When I bring up the champion, I'm going to bring up their like recommended build just a recommended build for beating Lysandra, just so people can know what champions need epic relics and kind of have a good baseline so people can just know what they should play. So today on stream, I want us to just go through and look at every single champion and try to put up a build that we should put on screen during the tier list for a good representation of what you should be playing into Lysandra. So like for Aurelian Soul, probably want to throw on like Starforged Gauntlets. What would you prefer? Patch tonight and we wait 2 days for patch live, or patch tomorrow and only wait for 1 day? I mean, doesn't really matter to me. When they patch it doesn't really matter since it only goes live on Wednesday. I think I keep going over it. The other one I'm looking for right now, yeah, I normally like Crown Guard. I think it's pretty good for Aurelian Soul. And then for the other epic relic, it's like you could go for Oath of the Guardians, could go for Disciple of Shadows. Is 2 Ludens on Annie worth? I mean, it can be. Oh, I need to mute someone. Sorry, friend. If you have a kind of maxed out account and you can afford to spend the extra Stardust, then I think 2 Ludens is probably worth getting and worth playing around with. But if you're someone that you have a lower level account, you don't have a lot of Stardust to go around, probably would want to just get one of a different relic over 2 Ludens. So it kind of just depends on your account. Like, do I have double Ludens? I actually have double Ludens on my low level account, ironically. Because the champions I have. So yeah, I only actually have 1 here. I mean, it can be good. I think if you also enjoy playing... Also, thank you, Leg. Thanks for the follow. I appreciate the support. If you also want to play, like, Misfortune or, like, Jin, I think it can be worth it, yes. Maybe not just if you're going to play it on Annie, but if you're going to use it on multiple people, then it's worth getting 2 of them. Hey Dream, welcome. I wonder, so for those of you, any of you that just came in more recently, what we're working on is getting builds done for everyone, because when I'm doing the tier list, I'm going to show the champion on the side as I'm talking about them. That way people can see both who I'm talking about, but also what kind of my recommended build for Lysandra is. Now, should I put in like a full build every time, or for some champions like Aurelion Sol or Poro King, should I put in like the really necessary relic and then kind of the other ones are flex picks? Because like for Aurelion Sol, yeah, you probably want Star Gem, and I think Crown Guard is really nice to have. And the other one, it kind of doesn't really matter. You can really throw in whatever you want. And to some regards, it's the same with the Poro King, where it's like, you really need Spirit of the Buru, and the other two really aren't that important. I mean, I'm probably not going to throw out multiple different builds, just because that would kind of take forever. But like, one thing I could do is say like, have Spirit of the Brewer on him and just be like, this is the really important relic. I don't know, I probably just have to clarify while I'm talking. Because yeah, there's some epic relics that I have on that are really important, and then there's other epic relics that I might be using but aren't as important. I mean, so the issue is you can never make a build that's going to satisfy everyone, because the thing is, some people have epics, but even the people that have epics, pretty much, I don't think anyone has every single epic relic. And then even if you suggest a build, people are like, oh, well, I have epics, but I don't have those epics. But even with rares, people will be like, oh, I don't have those rares. So it's, everyone's at a different point, so it just doesn't, you can't help everyone, sadly. I think I'll probably just have to really talk through all the builds, because there's some champions that's like, if you don't have epics, you're kind of screwed. Like Poro King, we're gonna put him, I think he's up in like the A tier potentially, and that's just because of Spirit of the Buru. Without this, he's like down way lower, so I'm gonna have to clarify that. It's like, if you don't have this, it's not like there's a good alternative, it's just you're kind of out of luck. Yeah, I'm not gonna make two different tier lists. I mean, at least not initially. Maybe in the future I'll do a tier list that's just like no epic relics at all. But I mean, most people have epic relics, and I feel like most people want to use their epic relics. I feel like it's more of a majority of people that want epic relics than don't. All right, so let's go through. For me, I think I'll fill out the build, but I'll try to specify which ones are more important. I think I'll throw in Disciple of Shadows, but Oath of the Guardians is also, well, yeah, we'll throw in Oath, that's fine. Level 10, level 1, 0-star champ tier list, so you can include everyone. I mean, that doesn't even work, because then everyone has levels and stars, and they're like, now it doesn't make sense anymore. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it sucks to not have gauntlets, but like, everyone knows that at that point. Also, yeah, not everyone has every champion. Gauntlets should soon be available. Like, then you can't buy them anymore. You should soon be able to get these in a non-pay-to-win way. Do a tier list with only level 1 0-star Jinx. Because, yeah, the one person that everyone can have. Alright, so I think this is the go-to build I'm going to throw on screen for Aurelion Sol. And I'll really say for, like, Aurelion Sol, a lot of this isn't required because he's so powerful. But what are you guys thinking? Is this everyone agree this build is fine? I can't imagine doing Lysandra without gauntlets on a champ like Bard. Yeah, there's a lot of champions where you do need to rely on some of the more broken builds. Like, I kind of hate the fact that for a lot of the champions, going Oath of the Guardians is so important. Kind of hate it, but gauntlets make me so mad. While not necessary for the champs that can use it against Lysandra, it seems like it makes it so much easier having the extra mana. Yeah. Alright, so we'll go with this. Not seen any... I didn't save it. Not seen any complaints. So let's move on to Aatrox. I think this was one where we kind of, again, needed the gauntlets. I think we went with this. Looks good. Oath could be swapped out. Yes. That's the thing. The Oath was the one that's very much a flex pick, where it's like, you can really throw in a lot of stuff there. I almost bought the Gauntless Link too, but they got rid of it the day I made the choice to buy it. That's sad. Why is Misfortune so hard to level up? Because she often dies during her attack. That's why I like running Death's Foil. Well, she either dies during her attack or she dies after. Like, having seen 4 attacks, especially for someone that doesn't have a lot of rally, and like you have Scout, by the time you get Scout, it's kind of later in the game. Yeah, it's hard to just have her on the board seeing that many attacks, especially when she's kind of weak. Anyways, this is the any blue one recommendations. So for, do you mean for Misfortune or do you mean for Aatrox Fear? Yeah, she needs easier access to Scout, like Vayne. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, it's really easy for Vayne because you get so much Scout. With Misfortune, you have Scout, but it's rough. With the Misfortune, there's a couple different things you can go with. It's sometimes fun to go for more of a like support style build, where you go for like Blade Rack and also like your Overwhelm, your Troll King's Crown. So she's on the board and you're just buffing up all your units, making sure all your units have Challenger, especially your ephemeral ones, can be very strong. So Blade Rack on Misfortune, really good. Overwhelm could be decent, but I think she's one where the Blade Rack is more important. You can go for Luden's Tempest, because that will essentially double the damage of all your spells and skills, which is also pretty solid. If you want to go for this, you can kind of go for like a spell shot build and go with Grand General's counterplan to make her Make It Rain, and you're essentially doubling the damage of the Make It Rain, so that's pretty good. Also, some cost reduction to get her on the board as early as possible is also solid. Why are Misfortune's star powers so nothing anyways? Is it just because she was one of the first champs? Yes. So her star powers are very similar to like Vi, where in a vacuum the star power is fine, it's giving you some good effects, it's nice. But when you compare it to a lot of the other champions that have gotten released, they're just been power crept super hard. Now I think Misfortune's star powers are better than Vi's, but still it's kind of just a case of power creep. Hello, good morning, Gabrielle. You're stuck in Aurelion Sol in the Demacia region. Which champion would you recommend? I mean, all of the Demacia champions are pretty solid. Like, Vayne is probably the hardest to do early. I actually just cleared Aurelion Sol at like level 13 with Lux on my low level account. So you definitely can do it early with Lux, but Lux, it's probably more difficult if you haven't played Lux a lot and you can really get her combos down. If you wanted to go into Lux, just use a lot of their reroll relic, like get a bunch of Z-Drive prototypes and just re-roll super hard for slow but steady, so all your slow spells get doubled. and also try to get sorcery. You get those two with Lux, you're like unstoppable. So that's my suggestion if you want to do it with Lux. For Garen, he's also pretty simple and straightforward and strong. And then also Morgana is pretty crazy. Really, they all can be very good for Aurelion Soul. They're generally pretty equal in power. It just probably takes some practice and maybe a bit of levels. All right, for Aatrox, I think this is just going to be kind of his default and really best build into Lysandra. I think he actually needs the mana, the Beast Within, Overwhelm, and 1/1. I feel like this is one build where it's like, you can't really change it at all. I think this is probably, yeah. I mean, I guess if you want to swap out the Beast Within, you could. But I feel like this is going to be best for you. So best, these two I feel like are kind of necessary or needed. The Beast Within, if you don't have it, swap it out for something else. So yeah, I think Aatrox, that'll be pretty good. Nasus needs, in addition to his current star, -1 permanent to the strongest enemy every round. That would be interesting. Based on how many units he's slain, that would be pretty cool. What can we replace with Beast Within for Aatrox? Yeah, Troll King's Crown or Stalker's Blade would be okay. You could also go for Aatrox with the Berserker's Buckle, so you get 2/2 every time you take damage. What we need really change is Powder Monkey item with Last Breath Rally. That would be good. It's time to talk about Oath. I didn't do Oath on Annie at all, actually. Annie is actually one where I don't think... I'm not going to recommend Oath because I already recommend it on too many other builds. For Annie, I just went with her default normal build and she did perfectly fine. And this is one of the few opportunities I can actually recommend a rare relic only build. So no, we're not going to talk about Oath with Annie. I might add it as an option, but this is going to be the recommended build I go with. Idea for this video: have the relic build that includes substitutes next to the relic for a flex pick, mostly because the Troll King's Crown is a replacement for the Beast Within. Potentially, the issue is I'm already adding a lot of complexity to the tier list, so adding more complexity, like the fact that I have to go through and add that for all like 50 some champions, it's like I think I'll probably just try to tell people what some good alternatives are. But yeah, for Annie, this is one where I'm just going to go with this right here. It's really strong. I mean, people could get rid of the Ludens if they wanted, but I was able to easily clear Lysandra with this build. And since this is a rare relic only build, I think this is what I'll go ahead and recommend. But I will say, like, you could replace Ludens if you want, and you could throw on, like, an Oath of the Guardians, but it's not necessary for this champion. Yeah, I'm mostly gonna show kind of a really good, solid build. And if people don't have the relics, I'm not gonna try to list alternatives for all of them, because honestly, for some, there aren't alternatives. And I don't care about regen Trundle. I mean, yeah, Annie just obliterates everything. I run Lux with Chemtech Duplicator, Hymn of Valor, and Lost Chapter. Nice. Alright, let's talk about Ashe. This is another pretty solid build that I mean, the Beast Within, this one, you obviously can swap out for Troll King's Crown. It's just the better version. I like Echoing Spirit on Ash. That I definitely see that. Unfortunately, I can't throw that in, but I definitely could see that being pretty good. Yeah, this is pretty much the same sort of build as the Annie one. Plays out pretty differently, but you still just want to have a copy of your champion, more control. Yeah, I've heard that the Formidable doesn't work with the Strike Relics, which is sad. Alright, so I don't think there's probably going to be that really an alternative to this to recommend. Like, yes, the Beast Within. This is kind of more of the flex pick, and I'll try to mention that during the tier list. Even though this is an epic, it's just nice to have. The two down here is more of the necessity. Yeah, you could throw in Blade Rack. That's a good call. So I know, like, this is for relics and champs. What's your opinion? No matter the relics, levels, or star powers, what's the most difficult champ to beat Lysandra with? I didn't really enjoy my time. Well, I kind of got lucky with Vi, but I think Vi is probably one of the worst. What other epics are good for Ashe? So, I mean, Echoing Spirit would be pretty good. You could potentially go for a build where, if you wanted, I've used this on a couple others, you could get rid of the Beast Within, you could throw on Death's Foil, you could throw on the Spectral Scissors, and then Starforged. So you're triggering your Starforged off of your power, which a lot of people can't do. And then you're also getting the Scissors and Death's Foil. That could be an interesting build if you want to drop all of your slots, all of your epics. But I feel like this is, yeah, probably what we'll go with. There are some, like, this isn't one set in stone. Like, these two I think are pretty good. The Beast Within, there are alternatives for that, and I'll try to remember to mention that. Darius is easy with triple Z Drive. Yeah, Darius Z Drive is really good. That is kind of, it's always been really good on Darius, just making sure you get the right units. Alright, so for Bard, I think Bard is another one where it's kind of Starforged. You throw on Starforged, you throw on Luminous Orb, and then normally you want Corrupted Star Fragment because this, all the stats count towards leveling up. So it's not only really good for giving you all the stats, but also it levels you up super hard. I guess, yeah, you could replace this with Echoing Spirit. If I had Echoing Spirit. I don't know if Echoing Spirit would be better than the Corrupted Star Fragment, though. Like, you would get the extra chimes, and you would get the Morvis Champion spell. What champ suits Death Foil? So I have fun pairing it with a couple different builds. It's really good for Vayne. I have fun with it on Misfortune. There's like a good amount of champions I played with it on. Just so much struggling to remember them all right now. I think I tried it on LeBlanc as well, so that all of her clones could, like, if you paired it with Stalker's Blade, your clones can get their strikes off and still attack with you. Yeah, there's a couple random places you can play it. I'll trade you my Echoing Spirit for your shiny Charizard. Alright, so yeah, for Bard, I feel like this is going to be kind of the go-to. You could potentially switch out Corrupted Star Fragment for Echoing Spirit, but other than that, I think this is kind of the needed and just general go-to Bard build. For Darius, I mean, I feel like I don't know if I want to recommend triple Z drive. Also, LOR devs fix the Oath plus LeBlanc, where it activate your 2-star. Oh, that's sad. How do you build him with the 7 champ relic? The one that shuffles a bunch? I normally don't build him with that one myself. I'll think about the triple Z drive. I've played it before in other adventures. I haven't done it into Lysandra. And so it's a little bit tougher. I think it was one that I did with like Starforged gauntlets. And then you can just throw on like a stat relic. Goodness, actually, let's see. You could throw on double Cardmaster's Gambit, so you'd technically be Titanic and potentially could get extra rerolls this way. So that's one thing you could do to enable Starforged gauntlets and get extra rerolls, which would be kind of funny. But you could also just throw on Warhammer, so you hit that 6 power. And then yeah, throwing on a Z drive might be decent. Yeah, I like the double plunder reduce cost as well. But I tried that one into Lysandra and got destroyed. I think Starforged is pretty required for Darius, which is sad that, like, I feel bad recommending Starforged on so many of these champions. But it just really is pretty necessary. So we'll do this for now. I don't know, I might try Darius one more time. But yeah, rerolls are always really good for Darius. Alright, Diana. I feel like I probably need to do Oath of the Guardians, and we're going to probably do this build like 3 times or more, and I hate it. Because, like, she has other strong builds, but they all fall into the same issue for Lysandra, where Diana is your main win condition. So they take her out and you're screwed. Whereas, like, with Oath of the Guardians, the fact that you can spread out your powerful champs, and a lot of champions have quick attack, so you can then make them double attack, is pretty crazy. So I feel like this is one where we probably need to do Oath. Looks like we're gonna need a second tier list for people that don't have Starforged. Yeah. Without counting, I've validated at least 10 champions with Oath. I mean, yeah, Oath is a good one for a lot of champs, but I'm only going to recommend it when I actually feel like it's the best option and there's not really a close alternative. So everyone fine with this being the recommendation for Diana? While I really like and actually prefer a lot of the other builds on her, I feel like for Lysandra, this is really the best. Otherwise, you just get obliterated and you're kind of screwed. Hey, T-Zoom. T-Zoom J. Chosen and Echoing is good too. Yes, but you still have the same issue then. Like, for Lysandra, I feel like you still just get shut down. Because one, you can't spam as much because of her increased cost. And then you just get obliterated and you're kind of screwed. Hard to say anything is better. Chosen is the other best option, but like you said, it's countered by Lysandra. Yeah, it's for like any other adventure, I wouldn't recommend Oath as like the best build for Diana, because yeah, I prefer using like Chosen by the Stars or something like that, but I feel like it's just not, doesn't work here, sadly. So yeah, this will probably be the build for Diana and a couple other champions, sadly. Alright, Echo. Right, this was an interesting one. I think this actually worked out really well. I forgot about this build. Right, that's why I love the Spectral Scissors. And I think this is one where the scissors, while they're nice, you could just throw on 2 Warhammers, because I think Starforged Gauntlet's pretty good. I think there's another one where people like Echoing Spirit. The Lysandra power is so dumb. It's not even anti-spam. Most champions in the game without infinite combos play more than 3 cards in a turn. Yeah. Maybe not optimal, but Echoing, Oath, and 1 Star Gem is good on Echo. I definitely can see that, but since we're recommending Oath so many other places, if there's any opportunity to not recommend Oath, we're gonna take it. Yeah, I think I'm probably gonna go with this. Thank you. I'm gonna say invoked. And there's no I, but still. Thanks for the follow. I appreciate the support. So the thing with this build is the scissors are optional. You're triggering this for the Starforged. The scissors are more of a bonus. So it's like they're there just in case you get a crazy power to bring it online. You're not doing this build for scissors. So that's why it's like, I'll state that in the video where it's like, if you just have double Warhammers, then that's okay. You can still trigger your 8 power. You hit Titanic, you still get that +1 starting mana, which is really good. And then you have a really big beefy Echo. If you have scissors though, this is a good place to throw them on. I have a question regarding Lysandra Adventure. Since everyone got the same relic from ASOL, I'm assuming, does everyone get the same one for Lysandra, or is it different? It's supposed to be different because it's a golden reliquary. So technically everyone's supposed to get something different. From what I saw, a ton of people, myself included, all got Spectral Scissors from it. Maybe that's just random chance of whatever I saw. Yeah, Lysandra is not supposed to be the same one, but I saw a lot of people get Spectral Scissors. Okay, someone got Packed Powder from it. There we go. So yeah, it is going to be random. I have scissors and I still don't try it. You got to get off using Oath then. Scissors is so good. And I like using it for places like this where you're kind of using it as a stat relic. And so you're just having this really good support effect as a bonus. But what do people think of this build? I think it's another place where Starforged Gauntlets is just really nice to have. But if someone can recommend something that's like better, then like I feel like this is one where maybe Starforged Gauntlets isn't the best. I don't know. Yeah, Echoing Spirit is great on him. Yeah, I think this is probably going to be one where it's like, hey, this is the build I'm recommending. It worked well for me, but this is a champion where there might be some other alternatives. Chemtech Archangel Staff is good, but Chemtech kind of gets hard countered by Lysandra, because since the spell goes off twice, it triggers her cost reduction even faster. So Chemtech actually is pretty bad into Lysandra in most cases, and it's slow. Alright, so I think we'll stick with this for now. We're going to have 24 hours echoing test stream when Spicy drops it. Not quite, but that will be interesting to see. We get our epic relics on Wednesday, so that'll be fun. At least that's when my reading resets. Oh my lord, there's so many champions. Alright, Elder Dragon. I feel like Elder Dragon, the best is just like triple epics. So this is really good. That one's really good. And probably this one. I mean, do you really prefer Portal Pal over Disciple? Oh yeah, so the video that's happening today, I'm going, like, who knows if they're going to reveal anything. I mean, I kind of hope so, but I thought they'd reveal something on the weekend and they didn't. But what I'm going to do today is I'm going to release a video breaking down all the reveals. So we're going to go through in a organized video showing all the new champions, their star powers, talking about them all. Tomorrow is going to be patch notes, and then on Wednesday we're going to have fun playing the patch. Alright, put a 1 in the chat if you think Disciple of Shadows is what we should do. Put a 2 in chat if you think Portal Pals is what we should recommend for this third slot. The stream will probably be the same time on Wednesday, because once the patch comes out, I'm immediately making videos. Yeah, so it's pretty split. I'm gonna stick with Disciple of Shadows, but I'll probably say that this is one that you could throw on Portal Pals. You hate Disciple on principle, but it's probably better. Yeah, so the Disciple of Shadows, getting him on the board earlier is pretty good. He's going to heal up anyone that survives, and if they don't survive, he's just giving him more stats for the Fury. So I think overall getting him on board faster is better, especially because into Lysandra, playing other units, we're going to get that cost increase. So I think this is better, but yeah, Portal Pals is an alternative. All right, Elise. This one is pretty solid. I don't know if we need to switch this at all. Gale Force Elder is the way. I mean, there's a chance, but you also can potentially get really screwed over with that one. The Beast Within would give us another 1/1. So this normally is pretty good, because we're giving our units Overwhelm, Quick Attack, Fury, Scout, Fearsome, They already have tough. And with the evolve, they'll get the 2/2. You like Banshees to be sure they have Spell Shield. Found Fortune? Oh, right. I did try that before. I don't know if I've tried it since they changed it. Because, yeah, the only thing below her, or the thing that's right below her, is Spiderling. Yeah, but I don't think I tested it since they changed it. But Found Fortune is pretty good. Because it's guaranteed to give an epic item to your Spiderling. That's true. I think this is the recommended build I'll go with because it works out pretty well. But yeah, Found Fortune is a good alternative. But I think we'll put this up for the build. I mean, the Voidborn, giving all your units evolve, giving them that extra 2/2, kind of feel like that's pretty nice to have. I mean, Found Fortune could be better because it could give us like elusive. But yeah, it's tough. Just heads up, if you open the golden while you're owned all relic, will give you 3 forged. Yeah, that is true. They have said that if you already have all the epic relics, honestly, don't buy a golden reliquary. It's not worth it. You can low roll Found Fortune and get Reckoner's Mark. I mean, you could also get Scout when we're already giving them Scout, so that would kind of be worthless. So I feel like Found Fortune, if you wanted to have a little bit of a riskier playstyle, would be good. But I think for a solid game plan, we'll show this one off in the tier list. And I think that should be pretty well. All right, Evelyn. Evelyn was one that worked out very well, but you have to be very specific, so I don't think I'm going to change this build at all. All right, so here we get the extra starting mana, which is really useful because we get our Evelyn on the board 1 turn earlier, and then we're just constantly stunning the enemy board every single round. We're scaling up our entire board, and I think this is like the best build for Evelyn, for Lysandra, and I don't see me changing it. Often the Crown Guard, the rally, gets wasted anyways. It's good on like everywhere but Lysandra. For Lysandra, having the extra control is way more important because, yeah, you just need to be stunning the whole board. With Starforge, it lets you stun everyone 1 round earlier, and just getting your Evelyn on the board as soon as possible is really important. Do the spiders get Scout? Yes, the spiders get Scout. Without Starforged, I think Crown Guard and Strength of Stone. Again, can't test Strength of Stone, so I'm not sure. Use Strength of Stone, Stun, and Rally. All right. I mean, you don't want Evelyn to be the first unit you play because you want to level her up. So you need to play someone else that generates a husk, and then play Evelyn to consume the husk and level. So normally you want her to be the second unit you play. So with this build, normally you start off with 3 mana, you play one of your cards, and you have 3 of them that can drop a unit with a husk. And then next round you play Evelyn, and then from there you're pretty much golden. So yeah, I think this is probably the best build. So I think we'll just lock this one in. It worked out really well. I actually need to check. I'm gonna look at what tier we have Evelyn on. Just make sure we have her high enough now that I'm looking at this. Yeah, like hopefully we put her up in like the A tier. Oh, wait, we put her in the S tier. That is, yeah, that's fine. She's happy up there. Hello, Jump. Welcome. All right, so Evelyn, Garen, I feel like very similar to some of the other ones. You could get rid of the Beast Within, but I think Starforged and Luminous is unfortunately pretty required. I mean, I prefer Beast because giving all of our, or granting all of our units that overwhelm and making the elites have 1/1, I think that's better than Chosen by the Stars. With Lysandra, I want to spread out and make my entire deck and board as powerful as possible and not have one big unit, because that's normally bad. So I think this build is probably optimal. You can swap out the Beast Within if you want, but I think Beast Within is still probably the best choice there. Yeah, all the single threat builds are bad for Lysandra, so Chosen by the Stars, pretty much just by design, is terrible into Lysandra. So yeah, I think we'll go with this. I think I tried a Strike Relic into Lysandra and it was terrible. So yeah, we'll lock this in. All right, Gnar. I'm pretty happy with this build. You released the tier list video after the patch. Imagine Riot nerfing Starforged. Well, that's why we're waiting, because I don't want to release the tier list and have Riot change something really important right after. And then it's like, okay, my entire tier list is now irrelevant and outdated right after I put it out. That's why I decided to wait, because yeah, I didn't want to put it out before and have it immediately be invalidated. All right, so yeah, Gnar. I like this build. I like the zero cost Gnar. Beast Within, really good. Most of your units have a subtype, so you're giving them all 1/1. And yeah, having Overwhelm on your whole board, really good. Yes, I'm going to include the new champions. That's another reason why I decided to wait, because otherwise everyone immediately asked me to make another tier list right after, being like, oh, what tier are all the new champions? So that was another reason why I was like, all right, I'll just wait until the new champions are out and I can put them in the tier list right away. Toast, can you show level 1 Evelyn card text? Sure. All right, so this is really what I like with Gnar. Anyone have any builds that they think is better than this one? I do think Gnar is probably a champion that there are different ways you could go. Like, you could potentially go for, like, Grand General's counterplan and try to just go for a very stun centric build. You use Found Fortune. What does Found Fortune hit for Gnar? So it hits one of these three. Interesting. Packed Powder, Arcane Comet, Archangels. Okay, then I think for Gnar, this is one where I'll recommend this, but I'll say for Gnar, there's a lot of different ways you can build him. And so you can go for kind of a slower, more control game plan with, yeah, like Arcane Comet, Archangel Staff, Grand General's counterplan. Or you could use things like, yeah, Found Fortune. So yeah, I think I'll show this one off, but I will talk about Gnar being one that's more versatile. Where a lot of the other champions we've shown, it's like, this is easily the best build. Whereas for Gnar, I think there's definitely some wiggle room there. Alright, Gwen. Yeah, this is definitely the best build right here. Thank you, monthly challenges. So she's one that I think you could go for like a Starforged build, but I don't think it's necessary. I think you probably can go for your normal build. That being said, it does have the issue of being the one main target, so it's easier to like frostbite and stuff like that. Yeah, she's one that I don't actually have an epic relic slot on, so you could 100% throw on Beast Within just to be the better Troll King's Crown. Don't have that though myself. So yeah, it's pretty much the go-to one. Scissors, Beast Within, Rally. Yeah, I do actually need to try Scissors on her since, like, it's kind of made for her. Yeah, I think we'll just go with this. It's kind of like the go-to best Gwen relic. Or best Gwen build. And so we could spice it up with epic relics, but, well, considering I don't have any slots for them, we'll just go with this. But yeah, Beast Within is pretty good. Alright, Alawi. I think Alawi was one that I really liked Starforged on. Starforged, Crown Guard. This is generally my go-to build. I normally don't go Scout Relic on Alawi. I prefer Crown Guard Inheritance because it kind of does the same job but better, in my opinion. So yeah, this is normally what I've found to be pretty good for Alawi. Scout isn't as good as, yeah, Crown Guard Inheritance. Exactly. You use Scout and do a triple attack. I play can't die or take damage while attacking. I feel like this is probably the simplest build that still works out really well. So I think this is one that I will recommend, but again, this is one that has a little bit more wiggle room as far as what you want to be using, which a lot of other champions don't really have. All right, Jack. I think again, I hate it, but Starforged is just so many champions rely on it. It's bad. Yeah, Jack for Lysandra, if you have to go with I Am Inevitable, it's terrible. What do we want for our third one? Like, we could go like Archangel Staff to refill our mana. Could go for a Strike Relic. Could go for a Grand General's Counterplan. You like him? Interesting. I'm excited to finally use my Cosmic Pearls and Blessings. Every time there's a new champion to play, I get so excited as I can finally use them. Yeah, I feel like this third one is really a flex pick that you can go a lot of different ways. Also, I think Jack is probably one where Starforged is probably best, but if you want to try to go for a slower build with like Archangels and Comet, it could actually work. Him, Chosen, Angel, but you try to find Remitter. Yeah, him is pretty deadly into Lysandra because you have a high likelihood of just getting shut down so hard. I mean, yeah, Stalker's Blade could be... I think Stalker's Blade is probably what I used. I think I will go like this, but then clarify that the Archangel Staff is definitely not necessary. There are other relics you could throw on based on your playstyle. So like Archangel Staff, Stalker's Blade, Grand General's Counterplan, potentially Hymn of Valor. And then I will also probably say that while Starforged is probably the best, he is one that if you wanted to go for a build that didn't rely on it, it is more possible than many other champions. Yeah, Jack versus Lysandra is going to be pretty consistent. Yeah, good call. The Berserker's Buckle is another one that's pretty good on Jack as well. Right here. When I survive damage, grant me 2/2. Another great one. Yeah, Jack definitely struggles with consistency into Lysandra. But he's one that, if the enemy has the wrong power, you just hard counter yourself, which is sad. Yeah, we'll go for this for now. All right, Janna. I really like this build. I think it's probably the GOAT. What do you all play on Janna? Anyone have a build they think works better than this? Because being able to play her for 0 cost and then play another 0 cost right away, potentially round 1, I feel like is pretty nuts. Because, I mean, without the cost reduction, I feel like she feels too slow. Because getting her on the board is just so important. Because, like, she's giving you some more cost reduction. Then she can level up and get that elusive. Oath and double star gem. Yeah, that's what I was kind of surprised that someone didn't immediately suggest that. Like, with that build, then you do have the issue of having to wait till 4 mana to play Janna, but I do think Oath and double star gem could actually be solid. You use Starforged Gauntlets for her versus Lysandra. You'd have to then use 2 stat relics. I feel like Starforged plus 2 stat relics isn't really worth the trade-off for just 1 mana, to be honest. Will this be released in spreadsheet form once after the next update for each champion? Probably not, but maybe. Oath, Packed Powder, and Found Fortune. That, I mean, it's possible. The one great thing with Oath, though, normally is you pair it with Star Gem, so then the champions are cost reduced. So then you're triggering her star powers for playing cost reduced champions. Yeah, I feel like Oath without Star Gem is bad. Because then you're kind of missing the point. You meant Star Gem over Found Fortune. I mean, if you wanted to go for a little bit of a hybrid build, so you have something to give you cost reduction for Janna, and then you throw on Oath and 1 Star Gem, that could potentially work. But regardless, I feel like this is probably the best build. Like, there are some you could do as alternatives, but I feel like this is probably the best you can do. Because, like, 0 cost Janna, 0 cost other item, round 1, triggering all your star powers, and then Janna giving you all the extra cost reduction from her effect. I feel like that's probably the best. But yeah, if you want to if you want to try to get Oath in there, you probably can. All right, let's look at Jax. I kind of hate that. Does anyone have something that's better than Oath here? Because I really don't want to have to recommend more Oath, but I feel like Oath is probably the best. Do you think Riot will release card backs as reward for Path of Champions? I think there's a decent likelihood of that happening. Like, they haven't done it yet. We have card rewards we can already get as far as the rewards pack. I mean, they're going to release more card backs, and now they're currently working on Path of Champions. So, like, in a way, yes. Do I think you're going to be able to earn a card back from playing Path of Champions as like a quest on the side? Probably not, but they're still going to be doing event passes and stuff like that. Do I think they're going to release a card back, though, for like a quest on the side or as a reward for like a legend reward? Probably not. But I do think they're going to keep releasing card backs, yes. Spellweavers might be good for Janna. Yes, Spellweavers would be solid. Riot don't know nerf Oath. Jack, Beast Within, Biss, in my opinion. Blade Rack, and something. Beast Within is really good for Jacks, definitely, because all your units get 1/1, they all get Overwhelm. What kind of tier list are we doing? So we're doing a tier list for Lysandra, or we've done that part of the tier list, but when I'm going through the tier list, I'm going to be showing on screen a recommended build for every champion. And so we're trying to go through what we think the recommended build for every champion should be, because while I have a recommended build for everyone, I want to kind of be able to bounce ideas off of everyone and make sure people kind of agree with what I'm saying, that I'm not saying anything crazy. Is there a link to the tier list? No. Beast, Scout, Rally, and Bounty Hunter. See, the issue is we still have the problem with Jax being the main win condition. Every unit benefits from being 1 mana and 1/1. I mean, that's not going to hit that many of our units. I mean, true, with Beast Within, Jax isn't as necessary, but I feel like while Jax does have a really good deck in most scenarios, up against Lysandra, your units alone generally just aren't strong enough to deal with Lysandra's units. I kind of feel like we need to do Oath for Lysandra specifically. Leona build without epics. You can go for your Grand General's counter plan. You can go for Archangel Staff. You can go for Overwhelm potentially. Yeah, I feel like we don't have a strong enough deck to deal with all of, like, against Lysandra in her 99 health, when they're dropping 9/9 Overwhelm tough units. I feel like our deck alone isn't strong enough to deal with it, sadly. I do kind of feel like, specifically for Lysandra, this build is a lot more necessary. Sadly. Alright, Jin, this was a fun build, pretty meme sort of build, but I feel like this is one where people are probably going to have a lot of other things to put here. Granted, I feel like Jin is one of those champions that since you have so much control, you're much more open on what you want to play. Yeah, people like Gatebreaker with the battery. Yeah, I normally like the rally, but you can also throw on the other Gatebreaker. That way you don't have to manually trigger the plunder effect. You don't like Jin? Oh, that's rough. Double plunder, reduce the cost isn't bad, but you struggle for some damage later, and you don't level up as fast. You guys don't like Ludens with Riptide? I mean, Ludens is nice, but it's just not as effective because with the cannon barrages, you're not only doing the damage, but all of these are counting as a skill, so they're all increasing Jin's stats. They're making him level up. They're triggering your... what is it called? Your Lotus Traps. So while the extra damage is nice, you just don't want to spare it for anything else. You'd go Ludens and double Riptide. Yeah, I feel like Gatebreaker or Crown Guard is better, but I feel like he's one you could just do kind of your personal preference. So I think I will go for this, but Jin will be one that I'll let people know is pretty versatile. With the amount of control he has, he's actually pretty consistent into Lysandra, I would say. Well, he's much more than most champions. So there's some different room you can go with. Alright, Jinx. Jinx is pretty rough into Lysandra, or can be. She's still really powerful, but yeah, if you get I'm Inevitable at all, you're kind of screwed. Yeah, you have to avoid I Am Inevitable and just hope Lysandra doesn't have it. I mean, or reset your run. I just generally don't do that. So this build is really nice because you can play Jinx immediately round one, discard your whole hand, all the pow pows, super good, lets you just control the board by removing all of their targets. You do have to be careful with where you go because some targets will just absolutely destroy you. But I still think this is probably one of the best builds. But I don't know if anyone else has something better specifically for Lysandra. All right, I think we'll stick with this one. And let's see, Kaisa, right, that one was not fun. So Starforged was really good on her. You don't use Packed Powder and Scourge Stash? You feel like one is enough? What do you like to use for your other slot then? The Formidable Epic is a passive, so it triggers even if not on the board, which is pretty crazy. Huh. Starforged and Strength of Stone. I guess, yeah, it is a power. When you summon an ally, grant it 1 power and Formidable. Triple Ludens and Prey, you get ephemeral copies. Yeah, that's definitely the way to go. Luminous Orb actually, it kind of got a buff for Kaisa because it's now a keyword. So it can help you trigger your evolve. You've been running Chosen. I could see that. Because then you get to, potentially can get some more. Yeah, I feel like Starforged and Luminous is pretty required. I tried Kaisa without it. It was terrible. But I feel like you could go for like Chosen for your Kaisa. Get a bunch of stats, can be good. And Spirit of the Buru if you want to try to trigger your evolve almost immediately, because you can have those units on the board. Yeah, full build is another one. Then yeah, I think we'll go with this for the tier list, and I'll try to let people know that Starforged and Luminous is, in my opinion, more required, but the Spirit of the Buru, there are alternatives, because you're just trying to get a whole bunch of keywords. So this one is good. Chosen also solid. Full build solid. All right, Kane. As you can see, we already have the best build equipped. Sadly, I feel like it's just so many Starforged. Yes, Reinhardt was here. Goodness, I always scroll over it. There we go. Luminous Orb. Actually, did we use Starforged on him? Or did we go for Strike Relics? Yeah, I know everyone says Strength of Stone is really good on him, but unfortunately I can't test it. But yeah, everyone says it's really good. Yeah, hopefully they put Starforged in the Epic Pool this patch. It should be happening soon. Because it's just so important in some of these challenges, which is sad, but it's true. So we can go for like a Stalker's Blade, but it's not going to do too much. I feel like what's potentially the best is I need another epic slot, but maybe going for like a Found Fortune or maybe even Oath of the Guardians, because he can trigger the play effect multiple times because he gets recalled and then you play him again. Or throw on the Beast Within, because you can give all your units 1/1 Overwhelm, and yeah, probably the better alternative. We played Strike with Found Fortune. Yeah, that was kind of what I was thinking. I don't know if that's really the best build, though. I think we threw this on with double Stalker's Blade, and I think we just got like a really good build and got lucky. I think this is the build we used. I don't know if I really want to recommend this build to everyone, though. I'll potentially try this one again, see if it works, but I feel like we probably need to go for Starforged. What Blue Cane do? It gives you elusive. I don't think I've ever done it. It's pretty bad. Like, Rost is so much better. Oh, we can use Death Foil and use Blue Cane. Yeah, like it's good in the sense that you play Kane, he gets 2 strikes off. If you can get items on him so he can get some stats, he'll hopefully get kills. But regardless, he levels up, gets recalled, and then you play him again, get 2 strikes off again. Both these play effects are triggering your Found Fortune, which was really good. I think this is one that I will have to go ahead and test again. I think we just got lucky last time. So I think I'll play through a match with this and see if it's actually worth recommending or not. Because, yeah, probably just have to go for Starforged again. But we'll see. If I could get away with not recommending Starforged, then I'll go for it. Kindred... pretty much I think we're all mostly in agreement on what the best build is. Nope, not Stalkers. There it is. So you could go for a triple Everfrost or Everfrost with Guardian Angel. I think triple Everfrost works if you, for some reason, don't have Guardian Angel. I think that can still be fine. But I think the double and Guardian Angel is probably a little bit better. But we won't spend too long here. I feel like this is probably the best. LeBlanc kind of doesn't even matter. I mean, LeBlanc is just so good. Yeah, you can just... yeah, triple Guardian Orb. I mean, that's actually not a bad idea. Death Foil and Double Strike, yeah, also really good. Because then your other units get strikes off as well and don't die. Yeah, there's so many. I mean, honestly, you could probably just throw on whatever you wanted on LeBlanc and probably still win. Scissors and Double Orb, yeah. I think for simplicity and to avoid epic relics, I'll go for the Guardian Orbs. But yeah, I'll just let people know there's so many different viable builds you can go for LeBlanc. That, yeah, you're solid. Whatever. She's so good. Lee Sin. This is probably the best. I do think Starforged and Luminous is pretty mandatory. And I really like Secret Technique. Hello, Enzo. Welcome. Secret Technique, Beast Within, and Crown Guard. I think you meant for LeBlanc. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Yeah. I don't really like Chosen of the Stars for Lysandra. Like, Secret Technique is really nice because when we're doing our combat tricks, our units are getting twice the amount. Now, that doesn't hit our star powers, but still pretty nice to have. Chemtech, him, and Troll for the OTK. Yeah, as long as they don't frostbite you or anything. Hey, Asperts? Thanks for the follow. Thanks for the support. So yeah, I think we'll go for this unless anyone has something they think would better. But I think this is a pretty good one. Secret Technique. I think there are alternatives, but I think it's still a pretty good pickup. It's obviously not as crazy as like Lee Sin, because most of your stats are not coming from this, but potentially you could go for like Spellweavers if you had it. All right, Leona. Again, this is probably a build that probably not going to move from, because Starforge and Luminous Orb, obviously really good. And then Oath of the Guardians, you're actually not playing it for the champions. Normally the champion's going to get obliterated, but you get just a ton of your Morning Lights. You can just buff up your whole board, activate Daybreak effects, level your Leona, stun the whole board. Yeah, I know. I pretty much always have. I always have Starforged up top. Ionian Spellweavers are completely useless? Interesting. Yeah, I pretty much always have Starforged at the top in the first one. But yeah, I think this is probably the best Leona build. We're basically playing with one relic slot only at this point because the rest of those two. Sadly, yes. But that's kind of the problem with Lysandra, is she's so difficult. You have to just go for the best possible build, even if it's like a epic relics. All right, Lux. Guess what we're using, everyone? Starforge Gauntlets. Now for Lux, it's a little bit different. It's a lot better for her than it is for most other champions, because you can immediately activate, or you can start getting extra mana because of your one spell. Arcane or Beast? Yeah, I kind of forget what I use for my third slot. I mean, Grangel's counterplan could be okay. I see a world where Riot nerfs Starforged. Chemtech's not great into Lysandra. Like, it... I think I did use Chemtech, but I think into Lysandra it kind of can really hurt you. I think I regretted using it because you play a spell, and then all your other spells that are normally free now all cost more. Because now your Final Sparks are costing 3 mana. Your Aegis that you make for your second star power also costs 3. So I think Chemtech is a little bit of a trap. Beast Within could be good. Let's see how many elites she has. All right, no, 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 no. Oh my, wait. All right, so that one's an elite. That one's an elite. Okay, so we only have like 2 or 3 elites in the entire deck, and those are not early cards. Mage Seeker has Dragon. Good point, good point. Yeah, Chemtech I think was kind of a trap. I don't think it actually worked that well. Going for something basic like the Beast Within could be decent. Arcane Comet could be good. Yeah, well, maybe. I'll potentially put on the Beast Within there. Alright, Master Yi. This is probably not the way for Lysandra. Comet is fantastic on Lux. Only play Champion, really happy to play it. Yeah, Arcane Comet is one that I'm also considering. I hate Yi versus Lysandra so much. Yeah, it's not the best. Yeah, Yi wants to spam as much as possible, and Lysandra does not want that to happen. I mean, I didn't try Oath before. At this point, I don't know if you guys are being sarcastic or not for suggesting Oath on everyone, but I mean, he is a 2-cost. You can drop him right away. You can get some good champions on the board. It probably works out pretty well. Yeah, I was thinking Echoing Spirit and Secret Technique is probably the best. Yeah, triple Rage Blade, definitely what you need to do. Alright, this is another one I'll probably want to test out before the tier list, just to make sure. Alright, Misfortune, I love this build. I think it's so much fun, and this is probably what, well, I mean, probably not the best to recommend, but people want the best build, but just, here's triple epic relics on a champion most people hate. It is super fun, though, because she has 3 more power, she can't die, you can always support your powder monkeys. You just are so aggressive and push out so much damage early. Misfortune's Oath. Oh my word. I'll avoid doing Oath, even if it means I have to do a triple epic relic build on this type of champion. You play Misfortune like Kaisa, Ludens, and hope for ephemeral copies. It's fun when it works. Yeah, I'm sure it is. Do you just go like triple Ludens? That would be insane. Scissors Misfortune sounds really fun. I like the idea of way more than boring Nidalee or Nico Scissors. Yeah, the scissors are great, especially because you have an ephemeral unit every round, so you don't care about it getting ephemeral because you know it's going to die. And then with this build, you can try to buff up your monkeys, or you can focus on doing that more because you're getting just more value from them. So I find it really fun. So yeah, I think I'll stick with this. If you happen to have Misfortune and all of this, it's actually a really good time. It's like the most fun I've ever had with Misfortune. All right, Mordekaiser. Oh, look. It's the build. Misfortune is a good oath champ, probably the way to go. Yeah, I'll probably show off the build that I'm using, but then be like, if you don't have this, because most people probably don't, just going for Oath of the Guardians is also solid. Right here, we want Starforged Gauntlets, Disciple of Shadows, and Corrupted Star Fragment. I don't really see another build really being better than this. Oh, you like Portal Pals because you don't like Rage Blade? Portal Pal synergizes so well with Mordekaiser though, because you kill them and then immediately revive them. Wicked Harvest over Corrupted Star Fragment. Interesting. I mean, I think that could be good in situations where you're not playing Lysandra. I think into Lysandra, that's potentially bad. Like, it again depends on if they have I'm Inevitable or not. But that is probably solid into situations where you're not going up against Lysandra. So yeah, I think we will stick with this. It's good to know that there are some alternatives to Corrupted Star Fragment, but I really like using this on Mordekaiser. I think it's probably one of his best builds. And then you kind of avoid the issue of getting countered if the enemy has I'm Inevitable, at least in some regards. Morgana. So this is the build I go with, but I know other people probably... I mean, Packed Powder is so good. Alright, so you're refilling your mana, you're making a copy of your champion spell, Dark Binding, and this has Invoke on it. You're pretty much just dominating the board. I wonder when they'll introduce legendary relics. Probably not for a while, but give the game enough time, it'll probably happen eventually. So the cost reduction is nice. You get on the board a little bit earlier. You stack up because you're damaging the enemy nexus almost every single round, which makes your Morgana harder to kill. With that lifesteal, it's really good. You like Packed Powder, but Starforged Gauntlets is cool too. I mean, the issue with Starforged is you have to drop 2 relics for it. And I don't think dropping 2 relics, like, I don't think dedicating your entire build for 1 extra mana is really worth it, in my opinion. Because having the mana and creating the card, or the spell every round, I feel like is too good to pass up. Yeah, I think this is probably the best. Granted, if people don't have Packed Powder, I mean, it does actually lose a lot of value. We're not just playing it just for that cost reduction. So people could swap this out for the Scourge's Stash, but then a lot of other relics do gain a lot more value. Morgana doesn't need any relics, so I guess you could waste them on that. But I don't like Starforged Gauntlets in general. Yeah, Morgana is really strong, and she's potentially the strongest champion into Lysandra. Like, other than It That Stares, you dominate, or can dominate, every single challenge. So I think we'll stick with that there. Alright, Nami. This was a build for the monthly challenges. I don't think we actually used this for Lysandra. I actually really love Found Fortune on her. That's what I run on Morgana. What does Found Fortune hit? Does it hit your 3-cost capture card? I think you have a 4-cost in there. Found Fortune, pretty good on Nami. Both things you hit is really strong. Both of them give you a unit and a spell, so that's pretty solid. Four-cost Blinded Mystic, right? The Blinded Mystic, right? So often I've also been running the Deceiver's Crest and then also the Chase Guns. Oh, it's one of the ones that doesn't have the on the front of it. Gives you 2 triggers for level up and extra shackles target. Yeah, that is pretty solid now that you mention it. That is really good. Nami versus Lysandra feels like Master Yi, but worse because of the animation times. The animations are pretty bad, but I think Nami is a bit better because at least you're being refunded mana every time you play a spell. Whereas Master Yi, you just rely on the raw mana cost reduction. So Nami, still bad compared to what she normally is, but better. So this is my normal build. I need to check and see if this was the last thing I used into Lysandra, because I remember Nami actually not being the worst in the world. Yeah, this was the same build I used into Lysandra. It worked out decently well. If I complete a adventure with a dual region champ, does it count as both regions? No. No, it does not. I tested that before. Unfortunately, that is not how it works. Yeah, it just counts as one of the regions. Alright, do people have a better Nami build that they think works for Lysandra? This one, I know it looks so weird and random, but it does actually work pretty well. Because the Chase Guns and Found Fortune, you can normally level up your Nami. Round 1, Deceiver's Crest gives you another spell to play as well. Granted, you do kind of get shut down by Lysandra, but that's somewhat everyone, and there's nothing really going to be able to do to stop that. Alright, we'll go ahead and save this here. Nasus. Oh, man. So, not really sure what to do with Nasus. I think this is the build I tried last time. I was trying to go for a fun little bit of like a hybrid build. Like this to get him on the board earlier. This to have him get another kill and level up to get the spell shield. And then the Grand General's counter plan to just make a bunch of the siphoning strikes. And it went great until it didn't. But I feel like he's someone that you can't just... Like, throwing on Starforged Gauntlets doesn't really work because his stats are terrible. So you can't even cheat him out with that. Oath of the Guardians doesn't really help you because he's so expensive that by the time you play him, the game's over. Disciple of Shadows and Portal Pals. That is a pretty big unit. 5 cost 7/6. Oh wait, Portal Pals. Oh wait, I was thinking Found Fortune. Never mind. Portal Pals. When I'm summoned, create 2 random 7 plus cost from your regions. Reduce it by my base cost. Interesting. And then what do you suggest throwing in the other slot? I mean, I guess you could throw on the Beast Within. Because, let's see. Oh, well, that doesn't have any... I hate his starting deck so much. I hate how it's just... Like, okay, here's a Renekton card. Here's a Talia card. Here's a Zillion card. Here is a Sivir card. Like... He only has one follower that's actually from his support package, and that always drives me crazy. Like, he literally has a card from every other Shurima. Like... It's so terrible. I hate it so much. So, the Beast Within, having the overwhelm on everyone, that's great, but they're not getting the extra 1/1, so it's not even that helpful. I mean, could do Portal Pals. You could actually do maybe Portal Pals with Found Fortune. I feel like Found Fortune actually might be better, because I feel like drawing a 0-cost Rune Runner that also has an epic item could be really good. Yeah, I need to figure out a better build for Nasus. I need to give him some more epic relics, because he's too terrible on his own. I need to figure something else out. Yeah, he now just needs a Nidalee card just to have just Nidalee, Xerath, all the Shurima champions. I hate it. Alright, Nico. Do we just want to go Guardian Orbs? I feel like I've tried other builds that don't just rely on Guardian Orbs, and normally it doesn't work. Yeah, Nasus is just like hard countered by Lysandra in like every way. Alright, let's just throw on Guardian Orbs. I feel like it's simple and pretty solid. Let's see. Nidalee. I mean, the actual best build right now is just like Scissors, Tempest Blade, and Lost Chapter. Because you play Nidalee, she attacks with her whole board full of herself. They all level up, stun the entire enemy board, so they have 0 blockers, and you just do tons of damage. So, yeah, it's pretty much the best build in the game. So might as well throw it on there. Neela. I do need to try Oath on her. I feel like it's probably better than anything else. Also, so we're doing this. The actual tier list isn't going to come out for a little bit. Like, if I can, I would like to get it out next weekend. But the thing is, I have to test all the new champions into Lysandra. So that has to happen first. So that's why some of these stuff we're doing, but we might tweak things. The Scissor strat, you get your champion and then an ephemeral copy. And so Scissors creates another copy of that champion, and it just essentially creates an entire board of all copies of your champion attacking. And so you can do that round 1 with Nidalee and just have 6 Nidalees all attacking at the same time. Oath isn't really broken, it's just a good counter to Lysandra. Yeah, like if we weren't going up against Lysandra, a lot of the champions I would not be using Oath on. Like, I wouldn't be using it on Jax, I wouldn't be using it on Diana. People have better builds in other situations. It's just that Lysandra hard counters you focusing on a single unit, and so Oath lets you spread out the units you're playing, which is why it's so good. Anyways, Nora. This is my favorite Nora build. I feel like it's also probably the best. Because you transform a unit into something that is 3 more. It's going to count as a created card, so it triggers your star powers, giving it 3/1. Your spectral scissors gives you more stats. Creates another copy of that big unit attacking as well, which will count as another supported or created card. So it's going to be even bigger. You dump all those stats onto Nora, and you end up hitting like an absolute truck. If you have 2 Noras, then you can transform it to be even bigger. Because you can have a Nora here, unit that gets supported here, and then another Nora here. So it gets transformed, thrown onto the side, and then the second Nora transforms it again. It's just pretty nutty. Corrupted Star Fragment and double Succubus is pretty cool. That sounds really fun. I should make a video doing that because that sounds hilarious. That's probably not the best build, but that does sound like a great time, not gonna lie. The Nora Relic is fine, but I think this is actually better. The Transmogulator doesn't really work on Nidalee. I've tried it, and it doesn't work how it should. Should try Payload, Oath, and Star Gem. You think that's better now? So at the moment, I think I'll stick with this. I think it's a lot of fun. And also, like, really, really strong. But I might test out some of your build recommendations. Also, yeah, Corrupted Star Fragment plus double Succubus Brand does sound nuts. Because those husks are going to trigger your star powers, so they're going to be really big. So then whatever you play next is just going to be massive. That does sound like a lot of fun. Alright, Ornn. We actually had a good time with Ornn. And yeah, this is the build we used. So this was a lot of fun. Probably the best Ornn build you can do. You have Starforged, both of these to trigger your Titanic. And then you get the bonus of Can't Die, and then you can summon 2 copies of your Ram, and it'll just go nuts. Did you say you'll play it live on Wednesday evening or Thursday afternoon? I'll be playing live on, like, I'm going to be streaming the normal times. So once it's live, then yes, I'll be playing the champions and doing stuff like that, but I'm not changing my streaming schedule. I mean, you say that sarcastically, nerd, but it's like 3 epic relics. I think Nasus is still gonna suck, so it's not like just throwing 3 epic relics actually works to make everyone better. But yes, it does kind of take 3 epic relics to make him really strong. Yeah, I think this is probably the best build you can possibly do. Obviously, you having to use 3 epic relics. But even without this, just throwing on Starforged Gauntlets and then like Luminous Orb, he's feeling way better after the update. So while this is best, and I'm going to go with this, I'll clarify that having Starforged will just be really strong on its own. Yeah, if you don't have one of these, you can just substitute it for a different stat relic as well. Like, you can just throw on a couple Warhammers. and you'll be fine. But if you don't have Death's Foil, that's kind of the least important here. So if you have the other two, then you're fine. Like, throw on a Warhammer and have a great time. Alright, Pike. So it's time for another one that I think is a absolutely fantastic build. And once again, I feel like this is probably the best Pike build. Because you get to play him for way cheaper. He costs less. He has more scaling from the packed powder. The beast within, though, makes it so even if you don't play Pike, your whole deck is now really good. Because you're able to have everyone have 1/1, because Lurk counts as a subtype. And they're all having that overwhelm. Disciples. Oath, yeah. Beast is better. Giving every unit you have 1/1 and overwhelm is amazing. So I think I've tried Spirit of the Brew on him, and I think Beast Within is just better. So yeah, this is what I'll recommend for Pike. Pike is not in the best place right now, but I think this build really helps bring him back into being a solid champion. Alright, Samira, yeah, sadly, I mean, the Oath build was ridiculously good on Samira, and her normal builds are absolutely trash into Lysandra. I think this is one where it's kind of like no question, which is sad, but Oath the Guardians for Samira. Alright, Set. He was one that I went like this and actually had a really good time with him. He's one that, because you're holding on to so much mana and you're refilling your mana, the increased cost from Lysandra isn't that big of a deal to you, and you can actually use it as a benefit to trigger your star powers, which rely on you spending mana. So, no, clicked one too far. I think this is the build we'll go with for Set. I think it works really well, doesn't require any epics, and he was another one that is actually really strong into Samira. He really shines here. Yeah, you can play one Star Gem and Lost Chapter for Samira. Interesting. So yeah, that's the build we're going to go with for Set. Happy that we can have some that don't have epic relics. Then we go to Tahm Kench. The bottom here, this is kind of personal preference. I went with the Fist to have one more power to try to trigger Chosen a little bit faster. But if you want to go for Luminous Orb, that also works. I think this works out pretty well, though. Granted, that being said, my last Tahm Kench run was kind of perfect. It was so good. Like, everything that could help me out dropped. It was pretty great. Lost Chapter, Chase Gun, or Gatebreaker all work for Samira. Yeah, those all can be solid, especially in addition to the Oath of the Guardians and Star Gem. Yeah, Set doesn't care if Lysandra increases the mana. You like Luminous for encounter with Elusive. Yes, there are a couple elusives that Luminous can't help you with, and so it is still a valid option. I normally go for the Fist just to try to trigger Chosen a little bit faster. But since Tom has 6 health, you can kind of choose what you like. But this is what we will go with. All right, Talia. She is another one that actually functions really well with Starforged. I know we used on just about everyone, but like, she shines with Starforged, where a lot of other people don't necessarily. Yeah, Rage Blade, best build. Alright, did I like Blade Rack? I think I actually used Inheritance here, so we could get another rally. I feel like this one is a little bit more optional. Disciple of Shadows, Oath, and Gem works pretty great for Talia. I'm sure it does. You guys are just trying to make every build Oath. Here's a tier list of every single champion using Oath of the Guardians. Yeah, I'm sure it does work pretty well. It's just kind of funny. I think we'll go like this. It's a pretty simple and straightforward one. You can rely on your units. You use Talia for the extra mana. You can drop her for the rally to try to finish off the game. Crown Guard, you can switch this out if you want, but I think just essentially using Talia as a rally is normally pretty good. All right, Teemo. This was a fun one. I don't know if I can really recommend this, but this is how I absolutely annihilated Lysandra. You just have to go in and roll really hard for Stabilizer Shadow Totem, because then you just get 2 Teemos on the board, and then you attack, you make a board full of them, they all have Star Gem, you just deal massive damage. Like, it's so good. I just don't know if I can recommend one where you have to roll for Stabilize or Shadow Gem or Shadow Totem. I mean, I feel like I could recommend this build, explain how it works, and be like, if you don't want to do that, you can always just throw on Oath of the Guardians and use that as well. I like double Gatebreaker Gale Force and pray for item on the shop. Yeah, I do feel like Teemo does kind of require you to have some items, or get lucky with some items in the shop. So I do think I'll go for this build just because it absolutely annihilates. This looks almost AI generated, but it's yeah. So I will recommend this build to people. I'll explain how it works, and I mean, honestly, with this build, Teemo, like right now we have Teemo down in the B tier. With this build, when it activates, you're like an S tier champion. The problem is you have to get lucky with getting Stabilizer Shadow Totem. But yeah, I'll recommend this. And then people just want to use like Oath. I'm sure that also works really well. All right, Poro King. Spirit of the Buru is essentially the best. But I have fun also throwing on these 2, because then your Poros get an extra 1/1, and all your Poros, your created ones, get impact. I feel like it's the best, and you don't have to worry about playing Poro King ever. So yeah, pretty fun Poro King build. Yes, again, it's triple epics, but honestly, all you need is Spirit of the Buru. That is the most important. Everything else is just like bonus. I mean, yeah, this is kind of an order of importance. Like this one, very important, pretty important, and then kind of a meme. Like it still helps, but like it's giving you another keyword so you can trigger your star powers. So it is actually helpful, but yeah, it's not as necessary. Oh, I forgot to save. All right, drop that one there. All right, Thresh. This is generally my favorite build for Thresh. Works out really, really well because you normally can have 3 units on the board round 1. So you get 3 cost reduction for Thresh. The next round, you play him. He kills the 3 units. He then summons 3 units with Succubus Brand. And then when you play 1 more unit, all those husks die and he levels up. Yeah, Oath is probably better. Yeah. I mean, Oath are probably better than Corrupted Star Fragment. Succubus Brand gives you that, like, level up cheese you don't really get. Forgot to mention about Leah, she actually has bonus synergy with Oath with her 3-star, giving champions Overwhelm is super strong. See ya, Jump. Have fun at the bakery. Death's Foil, Succubus, Corrupted, Star Gem. Interesting. Why not Secret Technique over Nora Relic on the Poro King, though? So, the extra stats you get from the Poro Snacks, doubling that could be nice. Normally, you're not playing that many Poro Snacks, and so it doesn't matter as much. The extra impact you get, it's giving you more damage on the enemy nexus, but then impact is also counting as another keyword to make sure you're triggering your star power and giving you board-wide scaling. So it's good. If you prefer going more towards Poro Snacks, you definitely can go for Secret Technique. That is definitely just up to you. I think both are good. Thresh doesn't necessarily need Star Gem with Oath. No, he does not. So I think I might get rid of the Corrupted Star Fragment and throw on Oath once I can. Because then you can still do your cheese for leveling up Thresh incredibly quickly because of the Succubus Brand and Disciple of Shadows. And then with Oath, Thresh can still pull out the champions. Wait, does Secret Technique plus Poro Snacks grant 2/2 everywhere, or just 2/2 on the board and 1/1 for the rest? I'm not sure. So yeah, I think I will try to get rid of the Corrupted Star Fragment and go for Oath. Although Corrupted Star Fragment is really good. See ya, Jump. Although that being said, yeah, I might just recommend Corrupted Star Fragment for the tier list. We'll see. But yeah, I'll potentially test that if I have time. Alright, Varus. So for Varus, I tried to do a very specific build into Lysandra. Since she punishes you for spam, I wanted to try to just like knock her out as soon as possible. So I tried Secret Technique, Hymn, and Lost Chapter because Hymn of Valor is going to go off twice, and then each time because the Secret Technique it's doubled. So we'll try to play Varus, refill our mana, and then immediately just start giving him a ton of stats to one-shot their Nexus. He already has quick attack, and he gets Overwhelm when he levels up. He's going to level up very easily. So this was like kind of my build to try to get through and like one-shot Lysandra. Chosen Him and Crown God, pray for Helia. Yeah, Helia sadly is really important for Varus. Yeah, Chosen by the Stars. Faded and Augment is pretty good. You already get Overwhelm, but Challenger and Regen's not bad. You just now realize the secret technique is basically Chemtech, but works before 6 mana. For some spells, yes. It doesn't. It's only stat spells though, so it's not like it's as broad as Chemtech. But yeah, it's pretty much a power that is Chemtech Duplicator. Yeah, I feel like for Varus, you really just need to get lucky and go the top route, and then it kind of doesn't matter. It's kind of more important that you get lucky at the remitter than any build you actually go with, which is sad. But yeah, Chosen is probably really good for Varus. Varus does fall into that problem, though, of being the main win condition against a target that is really good at punishing, like, single units. I guess we can't really go for a Starforged build or anything else either, because it takes so much to get him Titanic. Yeah, I feel like going for Secret Technique or Chosen by the Stars is probably the way to go. And sadly, most of the other strategies is just hoping you get lucky. Just go Oath, yeah. Alright, we're almost through, everyone. We're already over time, but let's... Okay, Vayne. Yeah, I'm not going to be touching this Vayne build. This Vayne build is amazing. Like, once again, she starts off at 6 power. You have Faded and Augment, so that you're going to be playing to create a card, your Golden Spatula. So that's 3-2, so it's already bringing you to over 10 power, so you can trigger this Empower effect super fast. You don't die while attacking. You don't need the Scissors, so this is one that if you want to switch this out for a normal stat relic, you can. But the extra stats are really nice. Spellweaver's Bane is nuts, but probably not for Lysandra. Yeah. You would play Archangel instead of Scissors. I mean, you wouldn't trigger your Chosen by the Stars then, which is pretty nice to have. Vayne is top 2 Spellweaver champ? Interesting. That's... Oh, because you generate so many attack tokens. That's why. Okay. I was wondering, I was like, why is it good on Vayne? The attack tokens, because every time you generate... Okay, that's clever. That is interesting. I want to test that out now. Good call. Yeah, that's pretty solid. You got 600 Stardust from monthly challenge, 60 wins. I don't know what happened. Sometimes it gives you bonus Stardust. Yeah, that's been happening for a couple months. Congratulations, you got extra Stardust. All right, so I really like this Vayne build. This is one that I'll go with. But yeah, there's... That Spellweaver sounds crazy. Alright, Vhagar. You could swap out the Scourge's Stash for Packed Powder. And then I think you could get rid of the Luden's Tempest. You could potentially just throw on like double Scourge's Stash and have a 0-cost Vagar. I mean, you don't really care as much about the fact that, like, it's not like you have a lot of spell synergy. It's just the fact you're generating so many spells that you can have fun abusing. I use Beast within his third relic for Vagar. Interesting. Double Ludens and Chemtech. See, I like playing him early though, because round start grants your darkness everywhere 1 extra damage. So the longer he's on the board, the more damage you're getting with your darkness. Epic Relic, Chemtech Quadruplicator. That would be pretty fun. Once you get to 10 mana, all your spells are quadrupled. Beast is an interesting one. I normally don't try to attack with Vagar, so it normally hasn't really mattered, but it is giving like all of your units 1/1 because almost everyone's a Yordle. Oath for sure. Yeah, he does have a couple units he likes to attack with. Yeah, pretty much everything is a Yordle except for the Autopus. So it'd give all your units 1/1. I do think it's solid. I don't really think it's that needed, but it's definitely solid. Yeah, I definitely think giving all your units 1/1 is pretty good. And Vagar is one where I feel like his build, there's a lot of different ways you can approach it. He's much more versatile than most other champions. So like you can go multiple Ludens, you can go for more cost reduction. I think Chemtech Duplicator is required, but other than that, yeah, I think going like Beast Within would be solid. I don't have any relic slots to put Beast Within on. How do you activate Plunder with Vagar? So you have your darkness spells that can do it, but then also it's just attacking with your units, your Pokey Stick. Pokey Stick's actually really solid. So normally for Vagar, you just try to get some early amount of damage down, and if you need to just bank 2 mana in your first round for the Pokey Stick, that's fine. Because yeah, getting him on the board early is really good. Honestly, you could probably switch this out for double Scourge's Stash on Vagar and also have a solid time. Yeah, he's one that I'll definitely be able to let people know, like, Chemtech is, in my opinion, mandatory. But the other ones, there's a lot of different ways you can play with Vagar. Just depends on how you want to play him. So that's pretty solid. Alright, Vi. Vi's kind of terrible. Yeah. And also, like, normally Gatebreaker builds are really good for Vi. But it doesn't really help you when they have so much health. You'll like come down, hit their nexus, even for like 30 damage. They don't care. Like, they still have so much health. They just don't care about your gatebreaker at all. It doesn't help you. Like, because unless you're one-shotting the nexus, yeah. This build worked out okay, because you can get Vi on the board. You have impact, you have elusives, you have mystic shots. You have a lot of ways to trigger your plunder damage to be able to get her on the board and get her scaling. So like, I think this build is probably the best that you can do, but again, you have the issue of Vi being your main win condition, and if they get obliterated, then you're kind of out of luck. Vi is potentially either the worst or one of the worst champions into Lysandra. It's pretty bad. Yeah, it's really bad. I guess we'll just stick with that. I don't think we're going to be able to make something much better. Alright, almost there. Volibear. Oath is good, but we want Disciple of Shadows, Starforge Gauntlets. We want to get him on the board as soon as possible. And Oath is really good on him. I think I'd actually go for Found Fortune, because normally you can get another Titanic unit. So you can drop your Volibear, drop another Titanic unit that costs nothing. Whereas the champions with their double stats are okay. They have a decent likelihood of being Titanic, but I think Found Fortune's better. Concept in this Aegis is so bad now. The 2-star skill is useless now. Second star power. Oh, you mean for Vi? Yeah, for Vi, Vi's kind of in a rough spot. Yeah, I get what you're saying now. She's just been power crept by so many other champions that she was fine when the power level of everyone was a lot lower. But now that we're going against these crazy challenges, Vi's star powers are just not that good anymore. Oath is more fun. Found Fortune is more consistent. Yes, I agree, and that's why I'm recommending Found Fortune for consistency. Oath is still really good for Volibear. Definitely. And honestly, for this one right here, actually, I'll put Starforged up top. For this bottom one, you can throw on Oath, you can throw on Found Fortune, or you can throw on Portal Pals. All three of these kind of fulfill the same role, and so it's essentially picking your preferred one that you would like to use. But all three of these kind of function in the same way. Alright, Yasuo. I feel like he's another one with a lot of ways to build him. I enjoy Tempest Blade and Crown Guard, and I even enjoy the Grand General's counterplan, even though you can only use this when the enemy attacks. It's pretty good, and remember, you have draw on this, so I actually like Grand General's counterplan on him. You wouldn't go with Disciple. I played Volibear a lot. He's already pretty cheap. Except into Lysandra, you want to get him on the board as soon as possible. I would say in most other adventures, you could go without Disciple. Lysandra, though, I feel like it's necessary. Alright, should we keep both the Tempest Blade and Crown Guard? I think we should keep the Tempest Blade. Is there other things we should switch out? I do feel like there's a lot of different ways to play Yasuo. Also, another great thing about Grand General's counter plan is it gives you the safety of if he dies, you have another copy of him to play. You like the Everfrost? Yeah, Everfrost is pretty nice. Immediately get that stun off. Yeah, when I'm summoned, stun the strongest enemy is solid, definitely. Triggers on Entomb wake up too. Yeah, that's solid. Yeah, we can swap out the Crown Guard. Alright, that looks decent. Alright, last up we have Yuumi. And a couple different ways you can play her, but I feel like Disciple and Gale Force are... I mean, all three of these are really solid. You get to play her round 1, often for 1 mana or even for free. You're giving all of your units Overwhelm as well as 1/1, and whatever unit you attach to gets Scout. Anyone disagree on what we should put here? I will note I've tried Spirit of the Buru and I think it's worse. Full build, I think that is a alternative. It's definitely solid giving your unit all of these. I would say you'd have to put this to replace probably Disciple of Shadows. So you would delay how soon you could play your Yuumi, which I personally like to play her round 1 because you can play her and then you can play your scroll, which is pretty nuts sometimes. But I mean, I like giving all of our units 1/1 and Overwhelm. I suppose you could replace the Beast Within with it. The only issue with that is then you're once again relying on just your Yuumi. Whereas the Beast Within is then helping all of your units a bit more. But I do think full build is a good alternative if you don't have some of this. So like if you don't have Gale Force, throw on full build. That'll be solid. Yuumi does kind of get countered by Lysandra because the Entombs obliterate attachments. So Yuumi's probably going to get obliterated. Equipment also gets obliterated. Equipment, attachments, all of that gone. However, the stats that are on the unit are still there. So if they obliterate a unit that has a whole bunch of stats, even if the equipment or attachment's gone, the stats remain because it's an exact copy. Go Oath then. But Oath is a play effect and we don't play Yuumi. We attach Yuumi. I mean, I went this into Lysandra and it was decent. Yeah, you play Yuumi with Oath. I mean, sadly, Oath is good enough that that probably would be valid. Alright, I think we'll stick with this. It is solid. There are some things you could swap out, but I think overall it's a pretty good build. Also helps your whole board. Alright, so we went through and talked about everyone. I definitely still have some people to test out a little bit more. So the tier list, we're trying to wait until after the patch so that anything they change, we can then adjust for the tier list, and we'll add in the new champions. But trying to get this out in the near future. Later today, the video is going to be me breaking down all of the champions. So all of the reveals. I'll wait until after 1 to make sure that they don't reveal anything else. Thank you, Battle Scarf. I appreciate the support. That is a fun, kind of cute name. So yeah, the video today is going to be me going over all of the reveals. Tomorrow will be patch notes. And then the next day we have the patch. So should be pretty fun. Thank you all for hanging out for a bit and helping kind of theorize for the tier list. Trying to make it the best. Well, always try to make my tier list the best they possibly can be. But thank you all for hanging out. I hope you all have a great day.